Hello and welcome to Liberty Nation TV with your host, Jeff Charles. The midterm elections have been decided. Sorta, kinda, well, mostly, maybe, I guess. Republicans are still expected to take power in the House, but Democrats are going to remain in control of the Senate. The highly anticipated red wave that was expected to materialize turned out to be more of a crimson trickle. So what went wrong for the Republicans? I have with me Liberty Nation's national columnist, Sarah Cowgill, to help figure this whole thing out. Welcome to the program, Sarah.
Well, thanks for having me, Jeff. Always good to be here.
Yeah, so let's get into it. What happened? What happened with the Republicans? Why didn't they perform as well as everybody expected?
Oh, there was a wave, all right. It just didn't go in the Republican favor. I think you have a perfect storm of things that did happen. You had polling that was erroneous, and as years go by, it gets worse. Digital polling, people never answering the phones, everybody's screening their phone calls, and people intentionally misleading pollsters or not understanding the issue. So that was a factor. The other factor is the Republican Party is broken. After 2020, instead of coming together, the Republicans just got meaner and more bitter and decided to, continue the fight against Trump. That did nothing for candidates on either side of the aisle. So I think, if the Republican Party doesn't get their act together, they might as well just sit back and let the Democrats run everything.
But one thing that I did notice, though, that they did, better than they normally do was they were going on the offensive. I mean, they were hammering issues like the economy, crime, immigration, and other issues that Americans said were important, according to polling. And these are also issues where Democrats have been failing. So since they did hammer on these issues, do the results of these midterm elections, do you think that they might indicate that they might have not been as important as people suggested?
I think they're extremely important to the people who vote red, because anything I've picked up in the heartland is, the pain at the pump. That's what all the grumbling is about. Inflation, how a hamburger for a pound is $7 as opposed to $2. So there's that. But you and I've discussed this before, Jeff, and you're right on point. Republicans have no solutions. They just complain. Democrats don't. They throw out solutions that nobody can attain or achieve, but it sounds good. So the messaging with Republicans, not only was it split down the middle again between MAGA Republicans and the Mitch McConnells of the world, then you've got a lack of any kind of solution to anything. Just bring this back, do this, do that. That doesn't work.
So, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade earlier this year. How much do you think the abortion issue played into these results compared to other factors?
Well, it depended on where you were. Again, in most of the major cities, exit polling showed that was a major issue. In the rural areas, it didn't even barely register. So there again is the urban dynamic of urban liberal enclaves versus the conservatives that maybe live in the outlying areas. So as you watch those exit polls, from county to county in, say, Pennsylvania would switch. Their most important issue walking out the door was the economy. And then you get into the major metropolitan areas, and abortion was on the top of the list. So that was an easy indicator that things weren't going really well.
Mm-hmm. So, many people expected for these elections to be sort of a referendum on how Democrats have been handling things while in office. President Joe Biden's approval ratings have been in the toilet ever since the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, and Democrats aren't doing any better than he is, at least not congressional Democrats. So what changes, if any, do you think that they'll make going forward in light of the outcomes here?
They don't have to make changes. If they win, then they just keep going along on that radical agenda. The referendum was we don't know. So instead of a slap upside the head, wake up, it was we don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Just go ahead and keep going. So that's going to be a big problem for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like the American people gave Democrats much of an incentive to change. I mean,
or any.
Yeah. I mean, they expected to lose the House, and the losses aren't as big as they thought they were going to be. So, I mean, they are going to kind of double down, I think. And, that could give Republicans an advantage in the future if they get their stuff together. But that brings me to my last question. What does the GOP need to do going forward?
If they don't, unify the party, what's the point? They cannot have MAGA Republicans and McConnell Republicans or. I mean, you've got to pick a side, stay on it, focus your message, and perhaps even come up with solutions. And the Republicans just aren't good at it. Trump was good at it, and perhaps DeSantis will be good at it. But right now, where we're sitting, neither one is really in charge of the party. McConnell basically ran with it. What the heck was, the Republican National Committee doing? Where were they? I mean, they should clean house in the Republican National Committee if they need to have stronger people in there that just put their foot down and not cave to the special interests of long-term, people in office.
Okay. Well, I said that was going to be my last question, but I lied. This is going to be my last question. Because, I mean, you brought up Trump and DeSantis, so I got to ask you the question. I know it's too early to tell, but I know you're not sick of it yet. You can't possibly be sick of it because it hasn't been in the news at all. No, but this could change over time, but who do you think the base is going to pick, Trump or DeSantis?
I don't know today. Okay. I thought we would have perhaps a referendum that would, the midterm referendum that would tell us which way that, the midterms would push somebody to the spotlight. And I think it did push DeSantis to the spotlight. But at this point, it's between the two of those guys. It's kind of a battle of egos. And I don't really see anything new coming out from either camp until they declare. So, there's MAGA Republicans that still just love Trump, and there's people who go, well, yeah, I like Trump, but I like his policies, but can't stand, his bombacity, or if that's even a word, and prefer the more toned down, buttoned up DeSantis. So I don't know, Jeff, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, I mean, it's way too hard to tell right now, but it won't be long before we find out, right? So, I mean, we'll definitely be talking about that because this issue isn't going away. But until then, thanks for joining the program, Sarah.
Anytime. It's always a pleasure, Jeff.
And remember, this show is proudly sponsored by LibertyNation.com, where you can access podcasts, breaking news and analysis, and a range of biting and brilliant shows to whet your appetite for freedom and your fondness for the great American Constitution. Just go to LibertyNation.com on your browser or hit Rumble, YouTube, or check out our Liberty Nation News Roku channel. I'm Jeff Charles. Thanks for watching. This program is a production of LibertyNation.com, where truth is making a comeback.
Entertaining, informative, and just plain fun. Watch Liberty Nation's The Conservative 5. Produced by conservatives for conservatives. C5's The Left Free Zone. Hosted by Liberty Nation's Lisa K. Donner. Joined by a raucous, irreverent panel of authors. Deconstructing leftist narratives. Debating the hot topics. And remembering to laugh. Join the official conservative safe space.
You only did that to piss Jeff off.
Liberty Nation's The Conservative 5.